Okay, so Ghostty Terminal is officially out and it has native support for both macOS and Linux, and it's available for everyone to use at this moment. It is also written in Zig, so it's going to be blazingly fast, and obviously I'm going to switch. And here's why. I've been using Western for a very long time now, and I really love it, and it has been my daily driver and a good one as well. It isn't bad or anything, don't get me wrong on that. The only issues I have is the scrolling. It wasn't very smooth for me, and I'm not sure if you will notice it, but I'm running on a 165Hz monitor and I could tell the difference. So the one on the left is Ghosty and the one on the right is Western. And it doesn't feel as smooth as Alacrity or Ghosty, even with the 120 FPS option enabled in Western. It didn't really change it all that much for me. Also, about a month ago, I was using Western and I was running NeoVim, doing multiple projects at the same time, switching back and forth between Tmux sessions. Then one of the panes from my sessions will just freeze and I just can't do anything except quit the session. And this happened like 3 to 4 times. I've tested it with others and it does not seem to happen there, so I don't know what's going on. But let's go back to scrolling. With Ghosty, it is so much smoother to scroll, and that's kind of what I missed coming from Alacrity to Western. It also supports image rendering right out of the box, so that is really great. I simply just want a usable, smooth, all-around experience, and I'm happy with it. To install, you can just head to the website and download the package, or if you want to install it with a package manager, you can just do it with Homebrew. I installed it with Homebrew, and I did not see the config file by default, so I just made one inside my .config. But you don't actually need to configure it at all, because it was designed to work with 0 configurations. It has supports for nerd fonts and settings that should make sense for the majority of people. Now I'm just going to comment everything out from my config so you can see how it looks like from the start. This here is now the basic color schemes of Ghosty, and to be honest with you, I don't really like this color scheme. This looks absolutely hideous. But anyways, it has the simplest things that other modern terminals just don't provide, but we're not going to be comparing Ghosty to Warp. And you can see that they support all sorts of iTerm2 colors, and they even provide you a option to override those colors. So you could use a color scheme and then override the background or foreground of that scheme. So that is pretty nice. You could also set up a themes folder and set up a whole theme in there and then call it in your config. So if we quickly go into my config, and I'm just going to uncomment everything here and go ahead and save, and then I'm going to reload my config with Command R, as that's how I have it set. And you can see that some of the things haven't changed yet, so we have to quit and reopen Ghosty. And now you can see that this is how it actually looks like. So how do you go about configuring Ghosty? Well, it comes with commands that you can try and run and see the options you have. For example, list fonts. You can pipe that with FZF and search for the fonts that are available, but pretty much all fonts are available, and they default everything to nerd fonts, so you should be able to use your favorite fonts inside Ghosty. Listing themes is also pretty easy. Like I showed you before, you can just run Ghosty list themes, and then you can check through all the previews of the available themes which are supported from iTerm2 colors. You should have everything pretty much within your reach here, and you could also do a / to quickly find the theme names that you want to use in your config. Talking about performance, for me, I'm sure it has its numbers, but I can already feel the difference in scrolling, so I'm not going to say that it's not different from Western, because it really is. My Tmux also feels way snappier than in Western, so yeah, I could definitely feel the difference. And for other performances like stability and I don't know, efficiency and all that kind of stuff, I would have to use it a little longer to at least feel the difference. You could also very easily check for the keybinds that are available like by default from the Ghosty terminal, and this is one of the things that I never seen in any other terminal. I mean, this is such a good way to, help someone start out in the terminal. I wish I had this when I started out using a terminal, because this would be so helpful. Now let's take a quick look of what I have inside my config. It is a relatively simple config and you barely have to do anything, but beware that the default color scheme is quite bad in my opinion, so you might want to set a theme for that. And this is just the background color that I override, and the opacity, you can change that according to how you like it. So save and just reload. By default, you should just be able to reload the configuration with Shift Command comma. but I just have it set to Command R to quickly reload the configuration. And this is why Ghostty is actually really nice, because you could just set your own keybind so easily. Then obviously you can also set your background blur radius, so depending on how much you want it to blur. And font family, you pretty much don't even have to add a nerd font because all of it is already a nerd font. Basically, the font Ghostty provides are a built-in nerd font, so you don't actually need to specify it to be a nerd font. Just pick the available fonts from the list and you're pretty much good to go. So yeah, and we have font size, cursor style, you can change that, the blink of false, and then we have shell integration features. And then of course, the title bar is obviously hidden because that is just how I like it. Confirm closed surface just stops it from prompting you that you want to quit every time you press Command Q. So that's obviously one of the things that I have to turn off. And of course, window decoration true, padding XY as well 10, and padding balance is really nice because, or if you use Western, you know how the padding just bounces all over the place when you resize the panes. And this is actually a setting that keeps the padding equal on all sides when you adjust the window. So that is really nice. Then we have the update check, and then also the inspector mode as a keybind as Command I. So if you don't know, Ghostty has this thing like sort of like a dev tools for the terminal. So you can go in here and check all sort of things, for example, memory usage or memory limit, and many other options that you would need if you're going to develop something in the terminal. So this is really great. Ghostty also comes with split views. So for example, you could do Command D to split vertically, Shift Command D to split horizontally, and Command D to split vertically again. Or you could do Command closing bracket and opening bracket to cycle between them. And Command W will just close every single one of them. But at the end of the day, I use Tmux for this anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But it's an option if you need it. And that's basically it for Ghostty. You can go and check their GitHub and drop a star while you're there. It was made by Mitchell Hashimoto. He's the guy who made Terraform. But yeah, what an absolute legend. And I'm actually excited to see what Ghostty brings in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed this short one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Or actually, next year. So happy new year to you all, and I'll see you in 2025.